review for you of Days of Blood and Starlight, which is the second book in the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy. This review is probably going to be short, but I know I say that kind of a lot and then my reviews aren't short. But let's just jump right into this. So this book I actually started right after I finished Daughter of Smoke and Bone, which I gave 4 stars and I really liked. You can find the review on this channel. But I got like 30 pages into this and I didn't really like it. So I put it down. This was like 5 or 6 months ago. But then I decided like I wanted to pick it up. I read some other things. I've been having a good reading year so far, comparatively speaking to the last 2 years. So I decided to pick it up. And it was really hard to get through. I kind of had to make myself get through it. So this is going to be kind of spoilery, but not really. Basically, like, if you read the ending of Daughter and Smoke and Bone, you kind of know this is coming, but I guess I just hoped it would be like a chapter or 2. But basically, Akiva and Karou are separated this entire book. And I'm not really a fan of when people don't communicate and when characters don't communicate and they like pretend they hate each other or they go against their like feelings towards somebody, because I think it's sending the message about like lying to yourself. So one of my least favorite tropes is like enemies to lovers, because oftentimes in stories, not in necessarily in reality, in stories, enemies to lovers is like the person is telling you, because you're reading their narration, that they like this person, but they're going to pretend that they hate this person. Or maybe there's certain things the person does that they hate, but they still like the person. And I just don't like the whole lying to yourself kind of thing, because I'm really big on like intuition and trusting yourself. So that was not appealing to me. And there's a whole lot of the chimera in here, which is interesting, right? Because that was introduced pretty late in Daughter of Smoke and the Bone. I don't know why I said Smoke and the Bone. Daughter of Smoke and Bone. But it's really like gritty. This book is a little bit like gritty, and I don't mean gritty, I mean gritty like sand. Almost literally, because a lot of it takes place in this like abandoned castle place in Morocco. There's also not a lot of Susanna and Mick in here, which they are kind of like comedy relief a bit. The perspective does go back and forth between Akiva and what's going on in Karou. I don't know. It was really hard to read. It kind of dragged on. I know that some backstory was needed. Certain parts were like kind of picked up and then other parts were super slow. There was a couple twists. And then the ending was kind of calm. And a new group of angels was introduced in this book, which I don't know if they were casually mentioned in the first one. I don't recall because it's been so long. Called the Stillians. But so that's kind of introduced, and I think that's a huge factor in the next book, which I'm about to start. Dreams of Gods and Monsters, I think it's called. So I don't know, this one was a little disappointing to me. Like I said, like having 300, 400 pages, 500 pages, having 513 pages were more or less like part of the enjoyment of the first book was the interaction between Akiva and Karou. And then they're not like in this one together at all. Also, I just have a little tangent on why, and I keep saying this on Instagram, why are there not trigger warnings for books? I know numerous people where there are certain books that they just will not read when certain things are in them. Same thing with movies. Like, I don't watch certain movies. I just don't need certain visuals. I am highly sensitive, as opposed to most of the world, which seems to be highly desensitized. So I don't understand why books don't come with triggers. I skimmed ahead because this book was like I said, a really rough read. So I skimmed ahead and then would go back and reread. So I saw this one coming. So if you are reading this beforehand or watching this beforehand, there is a trigger warning for an attempted rape in this book. I mean, there's already like murder, and it's a little bit more gruesome in this one than in the other one, but they don't go into too much detail. So usually I can like skim over that kind of stuff, but I still don't understand why books don't come with triggers for, you know, sexual assault, different instances of abuse, suicidal things, anything like that. I feel like books should like really gruesome, detailed murders and scenes, I think, or torture. I think books should like have trigger warnings. Like, why is there no rating system? Because you can't even nowadays, like back in the day, you could probably be like, oh, this is adult fiction, so it may have intense content. Oh, this is middle grade, so it shall not have intense content. And that's not true anymore. Like, the lines to me between, and as an author too, not only as a reader, between like YA, NA, MG, adult fiction, like tons of adults. Like, the girl in this book is 17 or 18. Like, this would appeal to an adult. It was written like adult fiction for the most part, besides the fact that Karou's a little bit like inexperienced just in life. She's not super wise. But other than that, like, a lot of this would appeal to, well, I am older, so a lot of this would appeal to someone much older. But I just don't understand why there's not a system in place for books. Like, why do I have to either have other people tell me? Why do I have to stumble upon it on my own, or look at Goodreads of all places to find, you know, triggers that might be in a book? Luckily, more people are like explicitly saying them. Like, I like Lee Bardugo, but there have been some hard scenes for me to read in her books, and people told me like, don't even touch Ninth House. They're like, any trigger you have is in that book. And I'm not even like the victim of sexual assault, but like, it deeply disturbs me to read about it. That book, The Strange and Wonderful Sorrows of Ava Lavender, like, wrecked me. So, I don't know. I just think that books should come with a list of triggers, or there should be some kind of rating system, like, even if it's just letters, like I don't know, I can't think of something else right now. SAT, like sexual assault, abuse, torture, or something. So you like know, or G for gore, and there can just be like a little lettering system so you know what's inside of books that might be upsetting to you if you're a highly sensitive person, or God forbid if you're someone experiencing post-traumatic stress disorder. The last thing you want is it to like pop up in your book, which you're using as escapism. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. But anyway. So, how short? I can't tell. I think it's like 7 minutes, so I thought it would be more like 3 minutes. But so this one for me was rough. I only gave it 3 stars. I'm happy that I finished it so I can move on to the next book, but then like, some people told me this book was their least favorite in the trilogy, but then someone else told me that the 3rd book was their least favorite because a new perspective was introduced and she didn't feel that it was like tied up nice enough at the end. So now I'm kind of nervous about that. But I have so many great books on my TBR. I have The 10,000 Doors of January. I have The Beach Read by Emily Henry. I still haven't read Queen of Nothing or Call Down the Hawk or Supernova, I think is the last book in the Marissa Meyer trilogy. So I have tons of books that are on my sooner rather than later read list. So hopefully, you know, I'll be doing more videos, but this one was really rough, so it took me a long time to get through. Yeah, so that's all I have. This is Days of Blood and Starlight by Laini Taylor. It's the 2nd book in the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy. In the meanwhile, happy reading and happy writing. Oh, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you know when I post, since I don't have any regular posting schedule anymore. In the meanwhile, happy reading.